Welcome. Thanks for coming. Rachel, if anyone, I don't know if this is being recorded, if anyone's popping in late, I'm a physical therapist at Agile Physical Therapy, and I also have been teaching Pilates. I'm certified for the past 15 years. As we move through the class, if you guys have any, if there's any exercises that don't feel good for you, please stop them. I will try to give a couple of options as far as modifications and progressions, but if nothing I give you feels appropriate, please stop whatever it's doing and find a movement that you feel is appropriate to substitute that feels good for you, maybe a stretch or some gentle muscle activation to replace what we're doing with, and then you'll be able to join the class with everything else as we move through to another exercise. Let's start on our mats. If you do have a towel roll to place under your knees when we're on hands and knees, that might be helpful. We're going to start with our feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. Let's point our toes out towards the corners of the room in front of you. Let's point them there. We're going to settle our weight back toward our heels. When those feet are rotated out, the weight's going to settle most effectively and efficiently over our heels. So we're going to let the weight settle down into that part of the foot, and let's soften up our knees a little bit. Let those sit bones and those tailbones drop down toward the floor. From here, take a big breath in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Again, this time we'll raise our arms. Big breath in through the nose. Exhale, arms come down as we breathe it out. We're going to breathe in, take those arms up overhead. Let's pause them in a Y. It's okay if those elbows are a little bit bent, if your shoulders are feeling stiff. We're going to draw the belly back toward the spine like we're tightening a little seatbelt of muscles and keeping everything below the navel nice and still. Let's rock that upper body side to side for a nice tall side bend. Inhale, exhale over to the side. Inhale up tall, and we'll exhale over to the other side. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll clasp the palms together, press them to the ceiling, and again, we'll side bend. As we pull that bottom side arm down a little bit, we'll get a little more intensity in that stretch between the ribs and the pelvis. Inhale up tall, arms still clasped, and exhale, tall side bend to the other corner. Let's breathe in, bring those arms to the ceiling. We'll straighten out our knees, take the hands by the sides, and let's now line those heels up with our sit bones. We're standing up nice and tall, and now we're going to keep the weight over the front of the ankle joints. Let's take our hands to our midsection. Heels of the hands are on those hip bones. Fingertips are pointed inward near that belly button, and we're going to shift our weight toward the toes and toward the heels. Try to keep the entire foot on the floor on both sides. So the goal here is to move within that range that you have, where you're nice and supported. You'll feel some muscles working under your fingertips, under your thumbs. Forward and back, feel those cores turning on and off. Let's take it right back over the front of the ankle joints. We'll move our fingertips to our waistline, fingertips in front, thumbs in back, and let's shift the weight from foot to foot. The trunk is nice and still. Nothing's moving at those hips. We're pushing the floor away with our feet. And as we load one side, we'll feel that side of the trunk working a little harder to counteract gravity and keep you up nice and tall. Let's move to some circles. We'll rotate forward to the front of the foot, out to the outer border, back to the heels. Keep that string at the crown of your head, raising you all the way up to the ceiling. And let's circle the other way. Take it around for 4. For 3, feel those muscles turn it on and off like a little cycle. Here's 2. And here's 1. We're going to shift the weight toward the toes, spread those toes apart from each other. Let's hover our heels just an inch or 2 off the mat. As you lift those heels up, you're going to notice you're farther forward on your toes for balance. That core has to kick in a little bit more firmly. Let's take a big breath in. As we exhale, keep the weight forward. We'll lower our heels to the floor, shift the weight back over the middle of the foot, and let's shake those knees out. We're going to do a quarter turn toward one of the top edges of our mat. We'll be lengthwise, and let's back up toward the back of the mat. If you do have your towel roll, you could place it on the floor in front of you. We're going to make our way to hands and knees. So we'll keep those knees soft. Let's take our hands to the fold in the hips, tip that tailbone back and the crown of the head forward. We're going to come forward just until we first start to feel that stretch in our hamstrings. Hold it there. Your back should be feeling relatively neutral at this point. There shouldn't be much any pressure on it. You should feel your glutes working a little bit. You could shift your weight toward the heels and toward the toes to determine what feels most stable for you in this bent over position. We're going to tap into that hamstring length now. Let's straighten and bend the knees just a touch. Hands can be at the fold of the hips. They could be on the kneecaps for a little support. You could actually bring them behind the thighs just to ease into that hamstring stretch. Feel those muscles lengthen out as we wiggle the knees straight and then bend to take the tension off. Good. Wiggle them for 4. For 3. 2, and 1. Let's hold a little bit of stretch into those thighs. Shift your weight back toward the heels just a touch, and we're going to reach our fingertips down to the floor, toward the floor. Squeeze your blades. Let's row, and then let those arms come toward the mat. Squeeze and row. Bring them down. Squeeze, release, squeeze, and release. Let's squeeze and hold our row. Press those triceps. Straighten the elbows. Reach your fingertips back behind the body. Feel the upper arms working in the back. Bend the elbows. Forearms are vertical. Straighten, squeeze the elbows. Release to vertical. Twice more. Straighten, release, straighten. We're going to hold them here. Hold for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring our hands toward the floor. We'll make our way down to hands and knees. If you have that towel roll down, we're going to place it right at the top of the shins, right below those kneecaps. Let's bring our feet to the floor and let's curl to cat. Curl that belly up toward the ceiling, looking toward those thighs, and then release to cow, breastbone forward toward the wall in front of us. Curl to cat, release to cow. Take it back to neutral, upper body stay still. We'll wag those tails side to side. We'll revisit this position partway through class. Right now we're kind of gauging our mobility, increasing it a little bit as we make our way back down to the floor. Feet come together, knees come apart, bring that bottom down to your heels, and let's walk those hands toward the front of your mat. Those elbows could be bent. They could even be a little closer to your knees if you do need to take some pressure off your tops of your shoulders or those armpit areas. We're gonna hold those hands, stretch those fingertips away from each other, drop the forehead toward the mat, regardless of what position your arms are in right now. We're gonna hold here and then gently wiggle those armpits to the floor, one at a time. One comes down, the other lifts, and switch it up. Little gentle trunk rotation, opening up those armpit areas, opening up the sides. Let's come back to a neutral position, breastbone faces the floor. Lower those forearms to the mat if they aren't already there, and we're going to shift our weight forward toward the forearms. Upper arms are vertical. Let's take those legs back behind the body. We're going to rest on our upper thighs as we squeeze those shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them toward the floor. Keep that belly drawn up toward the ceiling as we press through those shoulder blades. Squeeze and press for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hold that pressure up there. Squeeze those blades away from each other. Press those shoulder blades forward. Wrap them around the front of the body. Shift the weight toward the screen and away. Toward the screen and away. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming right back to the middle. We'll take a big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to turn and make our way onto our backs, bending up our knees and lining up our heels with those sit bones. Arms are going to come 45 degrees away from the middle of the body. Draw that belly down like you're tightening a seatbelt band of muscles right between those two hip bones. Hip bones are pointed directly up to the ceiling. We're going to picture that clock face on our abdomen and pelvis. Pardon me. Breastbone is 12 o'clock. Pubic bone is 6 o'clock. 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock are on either side toward the screen and toward the wall. We're going to nod the chin toward the neck, keep those shoulder blades pressed into the mat, and let's rock that pelvis toward 12, shortening pubic bone toward breastbone, and we'll release it away toward 6. Nod to 12, release to 6. Keep it going. Try to keep your glutes relaxed. We're trying to work through those lower abdominals, midsection of the abdominals to do the work here. 12 to 6, one more time. Take it back to neutral, and we're going to rock that pelvis side to side. 3 o'clock, pointing that belly button toward our screen. 9 o'clock, pointing it away. Again, rock to 3, rock to 9, rock to 3, and rock to 9. We'll take them right back to neutral. Belly stays drawn down. Try to draw the belly down enough that you could almost unweight your feet from the floor. Those feet are still pressed into the mat. They're still touching the mat. But if the further down you can draw that belly, the more light on your feet you should feel. We're going to keep that lightness on the feet as we rock our knees toward the screen and away. With that belly drawn in and getting that sensation that we're light on our feet, we're starting to work our oblique muscles, the muscles that control us versus rotation. Take those knees side to side for 4, for 3. Keep those shoulder blades down. Here's 2, and 1. Let's take them right to neutral. We're going to lift a knee up to tabletop. We're going to lift the other knee up to meet it in that same position. Shins are parallel to each other and parallel to the ceiling. Let's hold here as we arc our arms forward toward the wall in front of us. If you do need to take stress off, we could place one foot down on the mat for a kickstand. Otherwise, we're going to pat those hands up and down like we're bouncing little tiny basketballs. Nice forceful motions, moving from those shoulder blades. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. You find a pattern and a speed that's working for you. I'm going to straighten my knees, bringing my feet toward the ceiling, increasing that leverage, making my core work a little harder. If you want to take it further, you could nod the chin and raise that upper body a bit. Keep that belly drawn down. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Twice more in this position. Breathe it out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip those palms up. Now we press the air to the ceiling. Breathe it in. Exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe it out. One more big breath in. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip those palms to face the floor again. We're going to bring our knees to tabletop. Both legs up from wherever you've been. We'll lower that upper body down if it's been lifted, and keeping that belly drawn down, maybe flattening that pelvis a little bit closer to that 12 o'clock position. Let's take our arms straight up to the ceiling. Hold them here. Let's take a big breath in. Draw that belly to the spine as we exhale. If you'd like to keep both legs where they are, they can be right there in that tabletop, or we could take one leg down, giving our lower body a little bit of a kickstand. We're going to take those shoulder blades, wrap them around the front of the body, reach them to the ceiling, and then lower them back to the mat. Reach them up, lower them down. You find a breathing pattern that works for you. I want you to focus on keeping that chin drawn toward the neck and that breastbone anchored firmly down toward the mat so the lower body does not move. Reach and release those shoulder blades for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Reach them up, lower them down. We're going to pull the knee farthest from the screen into the chest. Hold it there. Keep that belly drawn in as we extend our opposite leg forward toward the wall. That leg could be lifted up, pointing toward the top corner of the room. For a challenge, it could be lowered down so it hovers up off the floor. Keeping that trunk nice and still and the belly drawn down, switch the legs. Pull that opposite knee in, press the other leg forward. Let's keep that pattern going at your own speed. You choose the height at which that leg stretches forward. We could progress it if you'd like to raise the upper body. Let's switch them off. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull those knees into the chest. Give them a hug. If your upper body's lifted, we're going to lower it to the mat. Hold it right where it is. Keep a hold of that far knee. Slide the opposite leg straight out along the mat and press that back of the knee into the floor. Tightening up the front of the quad might get you a little bit of a stretch in that hip flexor. We're going to hold that there as we roll our shoulders back and down and anchor them into the floor. Keep that belly drawn in. Now we're going to hover that straight leg slightly up off the mat. Let's make an L with it. We're going to take that leg out to the side toward the screen, take it back to the middle. Belly stays drawn down. We're going to lift that leg toward the ceiling. Tailbone stays down. And then lower toward the floor. Again, side to side. Lift and lower. Keep that pelvis as still as we can. Twice more here. Side to side. Lift and lower. It's okay if that knee's bent. Side to side. Lift it up. Let's lower it down. We're going to keep that heel hovered up off the floor as we take a big breath in. Exhale, switch it up. Pull that opposite knee in. Press the leg out in front of us. First, lower that heel down to the mat, tightening up the front of the thigh. Hold it there. Draw the belly down. If you'd like to nod the chin and lift the head, you're welcome to do so. We're going to repeat on the other side. Lift that straight leg up. Take it out to the side. Bring it back to midline. Lift toward the ceiling. Lower it back down. Keep that going. We have 3 more sets. I'm going to lower my head and neck, focusing on keeping my trunk and my leg moving independently from each other. Twice more. Lift the straight leg, lower it down. Take it to the side. Last time through, lift and lower. Side to side. Hold that leg right where it is. Stretch it forward. We're going to take that heel and the back of the knee, lower them to the mat. And let's hang on behind our bent knee and stretch it up to the ceiling. Flex and point that ankle. Feel the connective tissue all the way from those glutes down to that ankle, opening up, maybe even the bottom of the foot. Point those toes to the ceiling. Keep that belly drawn down, and we'll take our arms back up to the ceiling as well. Shoulder blades drop. We keep those hip bones pointed directly to the ceiling as we take that lifted leg out and in toward the screen and away. We could bend that moving leg for a little extra support, little leverage off that core. Let's move to circles. Reach those toes up to your light fixtures. Keep those hip bones nice and still. Pause, we'll circle the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold that leg up at the top. Give it a little sling behind that leg with those fingertips interlaced. We'll not draw the chin down, draw that belly down, and let's switch our legs. Opposite leg up. Lower that leg we just stretched all the way to the mat. We can flex and point our newly lifted leg. Good. Feel all those tissues from toe to tailbone opening up, gliding. We'll point those toes. Belly draws down, arms to the ceiling. Let's take that newly lifted leg side to side. You can get a little extra stability if you need to. First by, again, bending that moving leg. We can also take the hands down to the mat for a little extra support. All right, let's make some circles. Draw those circles on your light fixtures or around your light fixtures. And let's circle the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2. Hold that leg up to the top. We'll get that little sling by interlacing the fingertips. Roll those shoulders back and down, and that belly stays down as well. We're gonna nod the chin. If you'd like to lift that head up just a touch, you can. If you'd like to curl that upper body up, you're welcome to do so. We'll move through our straight leg stretch. Opposite leg comes up. Switch your grip with the hands. Lower the opposite leg almost to the floor. Lift and lower. Keep that pattern going. You are welcome to have those knees bent as much as they need to allow you to keep that trunk and pelvis firmly anchored to the mat. Here's 4. Switch for 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring those knees to tabletop, hang on behind the thighs, and we're gonna roll that upper body down, pulling the knees into the chest, and we can rock side to side and massage out that low back. All right, coming back to the middle, we'll roll those shoulders back and down, press those hands into the floor, and let's bring those legs back up toward our 90-degree hip and knee angles. Hold them right still, and let's float those arms to the ceiling. Draw the belly down and press those lowest ribs down toward the mat. As we open up that arm closest to the screen back overhead, we'll stretch the opposite leg out toward the wall in front of us. And let's switch through here, reaching out for that nice long diagonal. You want to reach your finger and your toes as far away as you can get them from each other. A big goal here is to keep that low back nice and still. If you start with one certain angle or your low back a certain amount away from the mat, try to keep it that same distance from the mat as you switch through to the other side. Let's switch it up. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pulling back to tabletop. We'll hold them here. Let's flex up those feet. Belly stays down. We're going to keep our arms nice and still as we lower one heel down and lift it up. Lower the other heel down and lift it up. Both heels lower. Do the best you can with this one. Lift them back up. Let's repeat. One heel lowers and lifts. Opposite heel lowers and lifts. Both heels come down. Both heels lift up. We have 3 more rounds to do through. This time, if you want to challenge it further, we can do opposite arms. So one heel comes down, opposite arm comes overhead. Inhale back up. Opposite heel, other arm, come back away from the body, back to the center. Both heels come down, both arms come back. Everything comes back up to our starting position. Here's round 2. One down, lift it up. Opposite down, lift them up. Both heels down, arms stretch back. Lift them back up. Last time through. One leg, one arm. Lift them back up. Opposite leg, opposite arm. Lift them back up. Both heels to the floor, both arms stretch overhead. This time we'll leave those heels where they are. Keep that belly drawn down as we stretch those arms as far as we can overhead. Let's flip our palms so they face the ceiling. We'll lower our heels to the floor. And let's move those upper bodies through some snow angels, okay? Chin stays knotted toward the neck. Drop your breastbone down and then keep that belly down toward the spine. We're gonna take our arms out to a T. Maybe they touch the floor, maybe they don't. It's okay either way. We wanna get that nice chest stretch. We'll arc those arms down toward our hips and then inhale them out toward that T again. Exhale them overhead. Back and forth. Let's move those arms through that snow angel position. Here's 4. Raise them up. Out to the side and down, 3. Bring them back up. Last 2, out to the side, down by the trunk. Take them up and overhead. Last time, arms come out to the T, draw them down to the floor. Inhale them out to the T, exhale them up and overhead. All right, we're gonna turn those palms toward each other, reach them up to the ceiling, and let's arc them down to the floor in front of us, pressing the shoulder blades now down into the mat. Look over one shoulder, look over the other shoulder, look right back up to the ceiling, and we'll inch our heels a little closer to our bottoms. We'll move to bridging. We want to keep that belly drawn toward the spine throughout our bridge. Press those heels into the floor, squeeze your glutes, lift those hips high. Lower them back down. Press them up. We're going to hold this bridge up at the top. Ultimate goal would be to have a straight line between your shoulders, your hips, and those knees. We're going to feel some stretch through the front of those thighs, maybe down by the knees, maybe through the sides of the legs, maybe through those hip flexors. Let's bridge back down, control those hips down. Press through the heels, lifting the hips, control it down. Let's repeat twice more, lifting up, lowering down. We'll hold that next one up at the top, hold and pulse those hips to the ceiling, squeeze those cheeks, lift for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in, exhale, bridge it down, release the glutes at the bottom, and let's take those knees side to side. Big breath in, big breath out. All right, take them right back to the middle, inhale. Belly to spine as we exhale, press back up into that bridge. Hips are gonna stay nice and lifted, and we're gonna go up and down on our toes. Lift the heels and lower them. Keep those big toes pressed into the floor. That'll keep those ankles in a more neutral position. Let's keep those knees facing forward. Up and down with the heels for 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the heels down, keep those hips nice and still. We're gonna take one knee out to the side, knee closest to the screen comes out toward the screen. Inhale it to the center, exhale, opposite knee out. Inhale, center. Keep that pattern going with the goal of keeping those big toes and pinky toes pressed firmly into the mat. Knees come side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Bring those knees to face the front. Big breath in. Exhale, bridge it down. Release at the bottom. Let those glutes relax. Rock those knees side to side again for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Coming right back to the middle. Let's reset those heels in line with the buttocks. Draw that belly down. We'll lift up to bridge. Press those heels into the floor, and let's move on to marching. We're going to try to keep our hips nice and lifted and level with each other as one knee comes to tabletop and back down. And then the other does the same thing. Let's alternate through at your own pace. Feel how pressing those arms and those hands into the floor can help add a little stability to the situation. Good. As you lift one knee, what if you press that same side arm a little more firmly into the floor? And as you lift the other knee, the other arm presses a little more firmly into the floor, using the back of the body efficiently to help keep you stable. One more lift on each side. Press those feet into the floor. We'll hold up at our bridge for one more second. Big breath in. Exhale, bridge it down. Release the glutes at the bottom, and we're going to rock our knees side to side. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's take them back to the middle. Figure 4 stretch. Cross an ankle to the knee. Press the knee out to the side. Find the natural stopping point. We can rotate the body away from the screen from here, or add a little more by lifting that opposite knee up into our figure 4 position. Hold for a big breath. Exhaling, we'll take it back to the center. Feet come down, uncross, switch it up, opposite ankle to knee. Draw that cross knee out to the side. Rock the body slightly toward that screen. Add a little bit more by lifting that opposite knee up. One more breath here. Exhaling, let's come back to our neutral position. Give those knees a hug into the chest. And let's slide our legs out straight along the mat, taking our fingertips to those hip bones. Okay. If this is not a comfortable position for your low back with those knees straight, absolutely feel free to bend them here. We're going to keep our fingertips resting on those hip bones. Picture something valuable balanced between those hip bones, like maybe a little vase, something fragile, We're gonna lift and lower one leg, lift and lower the other. Keep that going. If your knees are bent, it's gonna be like a little march. That fragile or valuable object shouldn't move, shouldn't spill as we lift the leg up and down. We wanna keep that pelvis facing the ceiling. Continue to alternate, lift and lower for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Take that second knee down, press those hands into the floor. We'll bend our legs and turn over to hands and knees. Feel free to double up your mat or add your towel roll under those knees for a little more padding. Once we're up on all fours, let's revisit cat and cow. Curl that belly toward the ceiling, look towards your thighs, and we'll release it the other direction. Again, curl and release. One more time, curl to cat, release to cow. Bringing it back to neutral, we'll wag that tail side to side. Take a hip to either shoulder. Coming right back to the middle, keep that belly drawn in. Let's squeeze and press our shoulder blades. Little mini push-ups through those shoulders. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. We can keep it here, or we can move to single arm. Try to keep that trunk facing the floor, shoulders squared off. Squeeze and press for 4. Good, 3, 2, and 1. Switch it up, opposite hand down. Other hand comes to the thigh. Again, we'll squeeze and press. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Let's try one more here. Bring that other hand down, shake out your wrists if you need to. We're going to move on to shoulder taps. This will again will help us control rotation through the upper body. Staying up on all fours, keep that belly drawn in. We're going to take the hand farthest from the screen. Bend your elbow, take that hand up to your shoulder. Bring it back down, switch it up. Keep the switch. Keep that belly pulled in. As you switch from bearing weight on one side versus the other, you should feel your core kick in a little bit asymmetrically. If you want to make this a little more challenging, walk those hands forward toward the front of your mat. Let your shoulders come along for the ride. We're moving more toward a plank position. Gets a little more challenging. You'll feel the side on the weight bearing side. You'll feel that core kicking in a little more. We could even be up in plank if you wanted to go there. Twice more, 1 to each side. Lift and lower. Tap and lower. We'll come back to all fours from wherever we are, and let's briefly rock the bottom back toward the heels. Get off those wrists, shake out those forearms. Take a big breath in, and exhaling, we'll come back up to hands and knees. Let's take that leg closest to the screen, stretch it back behind the body, and the opposite arm forward. Keeping that trunk nice and still, switch it up, and we'll move through our bird dog diagonals. Switch and reach. Switch and reach. Switch and reach. Hold it here. Okay, we can hold. Let's see if we can switch our hands. Bring that hand down. Shift the weight away from the screen. Come up onto the opposite fingertips. If you want to take it further, open that arm up overhead. Switch hands again. Leg stays nice and still. Shift the weight back toward the other hand. Reach the opposite arm up. Let's repeat. Switch and lift. Switch and lift. One more time through. Switch and lift. Switch and lift. All right, let's take that hand down. Take the knee down. Opposite leg comes back. Keep it lifted off the floor. Opposite arm reaches forward. Find your balance point. Switch and shift toward the screen. Come up onto the opposite fingertips. And we could lift that arm forward. Leg stays still. Switch and lift the arm. Switch and lift the arm. Good. Switch and lift. Whoop. One more time each. Switch and lift. Let's come back to our opposites. We'll take the hands down, take the knees down, wag that tail side to side. We're going to pause with a hip shifted toward that screen, cross the opposite foot over. Look toward those toes. If you can, grab onto that foot, give it a little gentle nudge toward that shoulder. Open up the opposite side of your waistline. Take a breath. Breathing out, we'll switch it up. Tip that hip to the opposite wall. We'll look over that shoulder as we cross our foot. Hang on to that foot if we can. Gently pull it toward the shoulder, opening up that waistline, the side toward your screen. Let's come right back to the middle. Big breath in here. And as we exhale, let's take our forearms down to the mat. Hold them there. Shift slightly away from the screen. Keep those knees bent. We're going to take that leg up. Control the knee down. Press it up. Control it down. Keep it going. Press and release. Press up, flex that foot, pulse to the ceiling. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up there. Big breath in. Knee comes down. Let's switch it up. Bend that knee in 90. Press that knee to the ceiling. Control it to the floor. Switch it up and down. Keep that belly drawn in. Twice more. Press to the ceiling. Lower it to the floor. Lift up and press, flexing that foot, pulse to the ceiling. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it here. Lower that knee back down. Let's take our feet together, our knees apart, press that bottom back to the heels, and walk those hands forward as far forward as you're comfortable doing so toward the front of your mat. We're gonna rock those armpits down to the floor one at a time, opening up those side muscles, opening up underneath that chest. Big breath in the center. And as we exhale, we're going to curl ourselves up. We're going to come up into a tall kneeling position facing lengthwise on your mat. If you do want to add a little more padding, let's get it under the knees now. If you need something to hold on to, you're welcome to find that now as well. We're going to take our hands to our hips and come to a half kneel. So that foot farthest from the screen is going to come forward. Hips are pointed straight ahead like little headlights. I want you to squeeze your back cheek and tilt that pelvis to 12 o'clock. That should bias you toward a little bit of a stretch in that front of that back hip. If you want to take it further, we're going to rock that front knee forward toward the toes and bring yourself back up to the starting position. Rock it forward, take it up. You're welcome to keep your hands on your hips. You are also welcome to take those hands and reach them forward. So those fingertips draw a straight line toward that wall in front of you as we continue to rock. Twice more, forward and back. Forward and back. Good, hands to the hips. Let's switch it up to our other side. Use your hand on the floor if you need a little balance assist. That opposite knee comes up in front. If you need to revise your cushioning situation, go ahead and do so now. And we'll set ourselves up again. Squeeze that back cheek, tilt that pelvis to 12 o'clock, locate that hip flexor stretch. And then if you're comfortable doing so, we can rock that front knee forward toward the toes and back to that upright position. Hands stay on the hips or we move them forward. Open up that hip for 3, for 2, and for 1. All right, let's take our hands to our hips. We'll go ahead and come back to our tall kneel, shake everything out a little bit, shift side to side, and then we're gonna take a seat lengthwise on our mat. We'll take our feet in front of us. Line those heels up with your sit bones. We're going to draw that belly in and take our hands, press them firmly into the sides of the knees. Roll those shoulders back and down and press the hands into the thighs, pressing the thighs back into the hands as well. We're going to keep that pressure from the hands to the knees as we extend our body back toward a slight diagonal. Keeping that belly drawn toward the spine, we're going to open up the arm closest to the screen. As we reach it toward the screen, feel the opposite side of the front of your trunk working to hold you still. Inhale, hand to the knee, switch it up. Opposite arm opens, look over that shoulder. Inhale back to the center, exhale and open. Inhale back to the center, exhale and open. One more time to each side. Center, open it up, take it to the center, open the arm. All right, hands come to the knees. We're gonna pull ourselves up nice and vertical. Let's roll through a couple of seated cat-cows. We're initiating with that pelvis. We're not curling too much through that upper back. Tuck that pelvis and release. One more time, tuck that pelvis and release. We're gonna stay up nice and tall. Let's take our hands back to the floor behind us. Fingertips can face your feet or they could face out to the side depending on the mobility you have through the top of those wrists. You want it to be comfortable. I'm going to have you extend those elbows, straighten them out as best you can. That might affect your finger position, but you get to decide what works best. Shoulders are going to squeeze back, blades are going to squeeze together. And if you have a little more room to move, a little more slack to take out of those muscles, we can inch that bottom toward your heels. Okay, you should be getting a nice stretch through the biceps, right above the elbow. Also a stretch through the front of the chest wall. Little stretch through the shoulders. Nothing should be painful. If you have pain here, I want you to bring your bottom a little closer to your hands again. We're going to keep our bellies drawn in and let's take that breastbone and open it up toward where the wall and ceiling meet in front of you. Let's take a few breaths here. Feel that chest open up. Inhale and exhale. Feel those ribs open up away from each other as you take a big breath in. Breathe it out. If this is enough of a stretch, stay right where you are. If you want to take it further, press your feet and the heels of your hands into the mat, and we're going to lift those hips up toward a reverse tabletop position. You're welcome to lift those hips up just a touch or to take them all the way to the ceiling. We're going to hold here for 2 more deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. One more time, big breath in. Exhaling, let's take that bottom down to the mat. We'll turn and face our screens cross-legged. Shake out those wrists a little bit. Clasp them together. Let's give them a little circle roll. All right, take them in front. Elbows are straight. Fingertips to the ceiling, fingertips to the floor. All right, let's take our fingertips down by our sides. We're gonna sit up tall right in front of those sit bones. If the cross-leg position doesn't feel great, those knees can bend and the feet can be out in front of your body. We're trying to get up as tall as we can here. Take a big breath in, lifting those ribs up off of your pelvis. And as we exhale, one arm comes up and we're gonna gently side bend to the other top corner of the room. We're pressing our supporting hand into the floor, which gives us a little bit of a stretch through the other side without forcing anything. Inhale up and we'll exhale, side bending to the other corner. Press that hand into the floor, open that other hand up to the ceiling. One more time, inhale up, exhale, side bend and press. Last time, inhale up, exhale, side bend and press. All right, hands come by the sides, roll those shoulders back and down, and we'll make our way back up into that kneeling position, facing our screen this time. Adjust your padding as you need to, and we'll take our hands back to our hips. We're gonna take one leg, open it to the side, drop that hip down into that inner thigh stretch. With the belly drawn in again, we're gonna hinge that body forward and then take it up tall. Again, hinge, take it up. One more time here, and then we'll move on to our side bending. Take it up tall, arms out to the side. Inhale again, and exhale, side bend toward that bent knee. And up and over toward the straight one. Side bend, reach, keep that belly drawn back. Side bend the other way. One more time on this side, side bend, reach. Take it up and over. Arms come down by those thighs, and let's switch it up, moving our hands back to our hips. Drop that hip on the straight leg side down until you feel that inner thigh stretch, and we'll hinge 3 times. Hinge it forward. Bring that body up. Hinge. Come up tall. One more time, hinge it forward. Take it up, arms come out to the side. Big breath in and exhale, side bend. Take it up and over. Again, side bend and reach. Up and over. One final time, side bend, reach. Up and over. Let's take our arms down by our sides. We'll move back to double leg kneeling. Roll the blades back. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Flip those palms to face the screen. Squeeze your blades, take them back behind the body, and we're gonna pulse those pinkies together. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Breathe it in. Exhale, arms down, and let's come down onto our side. All right. Rest that head on the elbow. We're gonna line our heels up with our sit bones and lift that waistline up from the floor. Top hand comes down to the floor in front. With all of our exercises on our sides, we're gonna try to keep that waistline lifted and our bellies drawn back toward the spine. I'm gonna shoot for 6 repetitions of each. What I want you to do is just keep time with what I'm doing. Do as many as you can, and then we'll move on. Pressing that top hand into the floor, let's lift and lower our knees. I find it easiest to inhale as I lift and exhale as I lower. You pick what's working for you. I've got 2 more. Lift and lower, standard clamshell. Hand moves to the hip, top knee comes up and down. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Knees come down, lift those feet and hold them there. Top knee presses up and down again. Good. Here's 3, 2, 1. Knees come down, feet come down. Fire hydrant lifts. Take it up and down. Here's 3, 2, 1. Bring that knee to hip height, hinge it forward and back, forward and back. We'll do one more of these, forward and back. Let's move to circle. Circle that knee. Keep that waistline lifted. Pause, circle it the other way. One more time here. Line the knees up, pulse to the fire hydrant for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up there, straighten your bottom leg. Press your top foot into that bottom knee. Knee comes down and up. Top hand can be down in front for a little stability if you need it. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Straighten that top leg out. We're going to swing it forward and back. Just 2 more of these. Forward and back. Forward and back. Hold it there. The top leg is slightly behind the bottom leg. We're going to pulse it to the ceiling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up there. Bottom leg's going to come up and down. That top leg stays lifted. 3. Here's 4, 5, 6. Both come up and down together. Last 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down. Bend your knees up. Pat out that hip. All right. Catch your breath. We'll move on over to our other side. Let's finish it up. Rest that upper body down on that lower arm. Knees are forward, heels line up with the bottom. Lift up that waistline, pull the belly to the spine. Top hand presses, and we'll inhale, lifting the knees, lower arm down. Lift and lower. Keep that going. I've got 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Knees come down, standard clamshell, hand to the hip, lift and lower. Up and down. Reset that waistline if you need to. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Knees come down, feet lift, top knee up and down. Here's 4. 3. Really draw that cheek back, that top cheek, squeeze it. All right, knees and feet come down, fire hydrant lifts up and down. Lift and lower. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Back to hip height. 3 hinges forward. Press it back. Knee stays bent. Hinge it forward. Press it back. Last one. And press. Hold it back there. Circle moving through that knee. Good. Reverse it. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Back to that fire hydrant position. Up and down. Pulse for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that top knee lifted. Straighten that bottom leg out. Press the top foot down and take that top knee down and up. Use your top hand for stability if you need to. Last 3, 2, and 1. Straighten out that top leg. We're going to swing it. Take it forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Hold it there. Pulse. 4, 3, 2, 1. What if we hold it here and flex that foot? Just something a little different. Wiggle those toes up and down a little bit. Feel free to try this on your other side later if you want. Point those toes. Top hand comes down, bottom leg comes up and down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold them up there. Both come down and up together. Last 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in. Exhale them down. Bend those knees up and pat that hip out. Turn to your back. Nice work. Line those heels up with our hips. We're going to stretch those arms up to the ceiling. Clasp those palms. Take a big breath in. And as we exhale, let's stretch them back overhead. Press your middle back into the floor. Hold here with that belly drawn down. We're going to finish on our mats today versus standing. You're welcome to balance later and show me your progress next week. Inhale. Exhale. Open those hands away from each other. We're going to arc them to the ceiling and down to the mat in front of us. Let's cross one ankle to the opposite knee. Hold here or pull that opposite knee into the chest. Let's gently rock side to side as we breathe in. As we exhale, keep a hold of that other knee. Slide that other leg straight along your mat. Hold for a breath. Let's bend that straight knee. Again, we'll place the foot on the floor. Cross that opposite ankle to the lifted knee. Press that knee out to the side. Lift up into figure 4 if you can. We'll rock a little bit toward our screen. Take a few breaths. As we exhale, come back to the center. Take that crossed leg, uncross it, slide it out straight along the mat. And we'll breathe into that bend knee. Inhale and exhale. All right. Let's bend up that knee that's been straight. We'll take both feet to the floor. Let's rock those knees side to side. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take it back to the center and then let's turn ourselves onto our sides. We'll press ourselves up to a seated position, crossing those legs or keeping them in front of us. Settle up nice and tall in front of those sit bones. We'll take our fingertips down toward the mat right along sides of our bottoms. Let's tip an ear to a shoulder. Big breath. Take it up tall as we exhale and tip the opposite ear to the other shoulder. Inhale upright. Let's close by bringing those arms up and overhead, pressing those palms together as we breathe in. And we'll exhale into our center. Hope everybody has a really, really great weekend.